The Dallas Police Department has reached out to the FBI because, as we know, this is the second individual who is transgender who is deceased in our community, and we are concerned. We are actively and aggressively investigating this case, and we have reached out to our federal partners to assist us in these efforts.
The Dallas police chief, trans rights activists say the violence in Dallas is indicative of the larger threat to black transgender women. At least 8 black trans women have been murdered in the United States this year. According to the Human Rights Campaign, at least 26 transgender murders were recorded last year, although it's likely the actual number is much higher. The majority of those were black transgender women. For more, we're joined by Ashley Marie Preston, media personality, civil rights activist. She made history as the first transgender editor-in-chief of a national publication, Wear Your Voice magazine, as well as the first openly trans person to run for state office in California. Welcome to Democracy Now! Thank you for joining us from Los Angeles. Ashley, can you talk about this latest death in Dallas? Can you talk about what happened to Chanel?
I think what we're seeing is an ongoing trend of a lack of access for black trans women. I think there's a larger conversation that should be had around our experiences at the intersections of race, gender, and socioeconomic disparity. What often happens is that black trans women have difficult times attaining employment, housing, legal aid, health care, social support, and anything that would set us up to thrive. And so we're left to defend ourselves on the margins of society. And from what it appears in Dallas, she's just another who had to deal with that disparity by herself.
I want to ask about Malaysia Booker, a 23-year-old black transgender woman who was fatally shot in Dallas last month. Well, a month before she was killed, a cell phone video of a crowd physically attacking Booker as she lay on the ground made headlines. Police say men in the video were shouting homophobic slurs at Booker, who eventually got away with the help of a group of women. Authorities say there's nothing connecting the perpetrator of last month's attack, Edward Thomas, to her shooting as of now. I'm wondering your thoughts.
That is correct. I think going back to it, this is a systemic issue. I think oftentimes law enforcement address it as if it is a isolated incident, but the issue, it really is a lack of support and safety for black trans women. I could only speak from a first-person perspective. When I came from Kentucky at 19 years old, I got a job. I transitioned on the job, and I was fired because I was being harassed, and I ended up becoming homeless. I was on the streets of Hollywood. I had to engage in survival sex work, and I ended up using methamphetamine as a social lubricant to be able to navigate everything that I had to do in the name of survival. What I noticed when I was on the streets of Hollywood is that whenever there would be deaths of black trans women and we saw the uptick of violence, law enforcement, as a means of helping us, would actually target us, and we would be profiled, and we face more violence while incarcerated for those of us whose that's a part of their story. So the issue is that our law enforcement are looking at black trans women as women who are breaking the law instead of looking at the laws that are breaking black trans women. And so I think it's an opportunity for our federal, state, and local officials to be more intentional about implementing policies that are going to serve black trans women. When you're looking at resources, if you're trying to attain employment, that's not going to help you if you have a hard time gaining access to housing. If you're trying to gain access to housing, that does nothing for you if you're experiencing intimate partner violence. And so what we need are programs that are prepared to